We're going to begin. And to those at home, welcome to this very exciting day in Kingston's history and toward meeting its objective of building a very robust economic base. I'm Tom Coulter, your town administrator, and I'll be introducing members of this esteemed group as time goes on. And here comes our late selectman, and we appreciate Josh being here. About 6 months, well, it's actually dating back to the end of 2017, a group of citizens worked very hard on Kingston's master plan. And to read the document, which I did in its entirety when I applied for this position, one could note the change in the company, in the town's strategy. Having not been known as a town that supported economic development very enthusiastically for many years, the tide had changed, and the town was looking to very aggressively develop a strong economic base. And the authors of that economic development plan targeted an area, starting up near Kingston Collection, proceeding down Route 3A south to the Plymouth line, as an area that was ripe, ready for robust development. But we needed storage and water, high-pressure water, to get to that area in order for that vision to be realized, because we know that by growing an economic base, it relieves the pressure on residential taxpayers, and it gives us the resources needed to build affordable housing. So about 6 months ago, we started the process of searching out a major grant opportunity known as the MassWorks grant. The reason we're here today is we've been awarded a substantial MassWorks grant, which Secretary Ash will tell you about in a couple of minutes. Before we ask the Secretary to give his remarks, I want to thank the town employees that have worked so hard over the past 6 months on this application. Without the help of planning and health and roads, we put that application together. You put that application together in historic time. And we're grateful for that. The way you have all circled the wagons to support the mission of this community is really a thing of magnificence in my view. So with that, I want to introduce to you to a dear friend and an extraordinary leader, and that is Secretary Ash, who's going to make the award. And then I'm going to introduce to you each member up here by name and ask the Senator and the Chair of the Board of Selectmen and the gentleman from Pyramid, one of our largest developers, to say a few words as well. I'd like to give you a brief history of Secretary Ash's background, and I know he hates this.
Does anyone want to hear that? Really?
I know he hates this, but I ask him to bear with us because what he has accomplished on behalf of the Commonwealth and even before joining the Baker-Polito administration is extraordinary, and I want you to know about it. Jay Ash serves as the Secretary.
Glasses this time.
I did. Thank you for pointing that out, Vinny. You're such a dear friend. Jay Ash serves as the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Secretary Ash is responsible for directing and executing Governor Charlie Baker's agenda on housing and community development, job creation, business development, consumer affairs, and business regulation. Since joining the Baker-Polito administration, Secretary Ash has prioritized efforts to grow jobs, help communities realize their economic development priorities, connect citizens to new economic opportunities, and build prosperity across Massachusetts. Under Secretary Jay Ash's leadership, the Commonwealth has substantially increased its commitment to public infrastructure that unlocks economic development, to the revitalization of brownfields, to workforce training equipment, and to the development and commercialization of emerging technologies. Jay has led the efforts to increase affordable housing production, to redevelop and modernize public housing communities, and to substantially reduce the number of homeless families sheltered in motel rooms. Secretary Ash has played a leadership role in the recruitment and expansion of major employers, including Amazon, General Electric, IBM Watson Health, Kronos, and Siemens. Secretary Ash previously served as the city manager in his native Chelsea, Mass., a position he held for 2000 to 2014. In Chelsea, Secretary Ash's leadership produced both economic expansion and fiscal stability. What's not written in this bio is Chelsea at the time was either in or on the verge of receivership.
Hey.
And under Jay's leadership in that period of time, That community became one of the leading communities out of 351 in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That's extraordinary leadership. He grew the city's housing stock, expanded its commercial base, developed 10 new parks, secured 5 credit rating increases, and won 2 All-America City designations for Chelsea. Woohoo! That's right. He previously served as the staff director to the Massachusetts House Majority Leader, as co-founder and vice chair of the Metropolitan Mayors Coalition, as past president of the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, as a board member of the public policy think tank, Mass Inc., and as an elected trustee of his alma mater at Clark University. It's my great honor to introduce to you a great friend of Kingston, Secretary Jay Ash.
Well, I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm excited to be here because, as Thomas suggested, I'm a former municipal manager, or another way to talk about it is I'm a recovering municipal manager. I had this great dream the other night. I was a city manager in my hometown of Chelsea and was getting all kinds of things done, and I woke up and I was so excited, and then I recognized I'm not the city manager anymore. So I love being in municipalities. I especially love being in municipalities that are doing things to move forward. And while Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito and I are excited to come down here to talk about infrastructure, the award that we're making today really isn't an infrastructure grant. It's really a reward to you, the town of Kingston, for what you're doing to plan for your growth, but more importantly, to come together as a community to say that we believe that Kingston can be better, and this is the path that we believe that we should follow to do so. And so the award money that we have here today is meant to be a partnership with you. When I was a city manager at Chelsea, we had this saying that you plan the work and then you work the plan. And what I've been convinced that here in Kingston is that you were doing both. And we see ourselves as being supportive of communities that do that. Governor's a former selectman, lieutenant governor's a former selectwoman, so we have a special place in our heart for municipalities. And when we come to places like Kingston, we see people tackling tough issues, but finding a common path to solve them and to plan for a great future. We get excited about providing support. What you should know is that my presence here would not be possible if not for the great partnership that exists up on Beacon Hill today. You see, we have Republicans and Democrats working together in a bipartisan spirit. As much as we talk around the state and country about how we're number one in innovation, we're number one in entrepreneurship, we're number one in talent, we have the most educated workforce in the country. The thing that I'm most proud of is that we have the best spirit of cooperation, the best example of bipartisanship that exists anywhere in the country. And evidence of that is that in this election year, democratically controlled legislature has given a Republican governor more than $3 billion worth of economic development bills, 3 separate bills that we filed that will promote the state's economy. Democratically controlled legislature has given a Republican governor a go-ahead on all of those. And it allows for the governor or his representatives to come out to communities like this and say, we have grant money to partner with all of you. So I recognize both of my friends here. Our work started several years ago in getting an economic development bill through the legislature that provided more money for the MassWorks program, and that's the program that we'll provide grant funding for today. When I needed to go to the House and get expert advice, Tom Caltler was there and was able to provide that advice, that leadership to support the advocacy that was necessary. And then in the Senate, both during the process of getting the bill first adopted by the Senate, and then when the two parties, the two branches come together to work out a final bill, it was Vinny deMacedo who I would call upon and talk to about the importance of this legislation. Lucky for me, both of them already understood it. Both of them already felt it. They were as much an advocate as they were listening to what I had to say. And so the tale starts with the administration and the legislature coming together and finding a way to get the resources necessary to come out to communities and make a difference. That's not where the tale ends, though, because when Tom was appointed here, and Vinny said, Jay, I'd like you to come down and sit with Tom and let's talk about what we can possibly do here. We added another partner to our team, and that was Elaine. And Tom, as much as I'm impressed with you, I take Elaine anywhere with me.
Mr. Secretary, I agree with that.
You agree with that? Again, 14 years as city manager, worked very closely with my city council. Elaine, I wish you were in Chelsea at the time, the 14 years, because we could have done even more than we accomplished in Chelsea. Maybe we would have won 3 awards instead of 2. So we got together and we talked, and here's my problem. I get to go around to cities and towns and I hear lots of good ideas from people, and I only have so much money to go around, and so I have to filter through some good ideas to get to great ideas, and I got it instantly here. What a great project you have here. What a great process that leads to a project, coordination with Pyramid and private investment, and the opportunities that exist all around the area with water treatment, with a treatment and water improvements will make a difference in development. And Elaine and Tom explaining what the process has been and what the possibilities are, and then Vinny frankly saying, Jay, this is my top priority, is the reason why I get to come here today, feeling very good about what we're going to announce. So on behalf of Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, I'd like to tell all the members of Selectmen and town administration that we're able to make a $3 million grant towards your a $3 million grant towards the work to update your treatment plan and your water system. We do so because we see the benefit that Kingston and frankly the entire region will derive from the work you're doing. We all jumped into a car. I will tell you that it was after hours on a Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and so for those of you at home, knowing that your municipal officials and your elected officials working after hours on a Friday to take me around and to show me what the possibilities were. And Paul's here somewhere. Paul's in the back of the room. And your secret weapon, Paul was talking to me about all the possibilities and what he had seen and gone through over many years of working here. And we drove around and we saw what the possibilities were. We spent an awful lot of time out looking at how the treatment plan and the water system could result in mixed-use development that's really exciting. In fact, I would venture to say that it's a type of development that other communities would want to emulate. And we looked at the large parcels of land that you have available for residential development and how all that relates to the train station that you have here and a transit-oriented development. It's a smart growth strategy that you have. It's a type of smart growth strategy that states seek to promote in its municipalities all around the country. And so as we went through our application process and took in more than 100 applications, we decided to make 40 awards, and I'll tell you that it wasn't tough to get your award up to the top of our list. So our average grant this year is $1.8 million. You're getting 3. That's how important we think this project is and how much confidence we have in your ability to deliver. So to all the members of the Board of Selectmen, to your town administrator, and especially to your legislative delegation, both former and present, we congratulate you and we're happy to partner with you on what is going to be a great project here in Kingston. This will not be the only time that we'll be here because we plan on staying engaged and helping you to realize the fullest potential for what you can do for Kingston, what you can do for the region, and what you can do for the Commonwealth. So congratulations, everyone.
Jay, thank you so much. You really are the best, and we're grateful. You're now an adopted son of Kingston, and we welcome you.
Is that going to cost me more money? Or?
Residential taxes are heading down.
Did he tell you he's from Chelsea?
I know. I next want to introduce to you my dear friend, Vinny deMacedo. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge some people in the room that have worked very hard on behalf of the town and who are extraordinary leaders. I'd like to begin by introducing my great friend, Treasurer Tom O'Brien, Plymouth County Treasurer Tom O'Brien. And also, we're blessed to have a leader on the Finance Committee who gets it. And I want to introduce to you Mr. Carl Pike, the chairman of our Kingston Finance Committee. and members of the esteemed Board of Selectmen, beginning at the very end with Sandy McFarland. Sandy, thank you for everything. Mr. Josh Warren. Selectman Tammy Murray. And Selectman and candidate for State Representative Kathy Lenatra. I'll get to the chairlady in a minute. I'd like to read to you Vinny's bio, and I've worked so closely with Vinny for a dozen years. I don't think I've ever seen this bio, and I think I would be writing it. I suspect Vinny wrote this because it's, no, I mean that sincerely, because it's a very humble description of who this man is. So I'll read it anyway, and then I'll tell you how I feel about this guy. Vinny deMacedo serves as the state senator for Plymouth and Barnstable District, including the towns of Kingston, Pembroke, and Plymouth in Plymouth County and Bourne, Falmouth and Sandwich in Barnstable County. He was elected as state senator on November 4th, 2014. He previously represented the 1st Plymouth District in the Massachusetts House of Representatives for 8 terms from 1999 to 2015. Senator you are old.
I know. Grandfather now, eh?
Senator deMacedo serves in a leadership, not in a leadership position, in a very important leadership position as the ranking minority member of the Senate Committee on Ways and Means, a key Senate committee which reviews all legislation related to the state's finances, as well as other important issues. He is also the ranking minority member on the Joint Committee on Ways and Means, where he serves as one of 6 members of the Annual Budget Conference Committee. That's the committee of 3 House members, 3 Senate members. He's been on the conference committee as a representative and as a senator to work out the final details of the annual state budget. Of particular concern to Senator deMacedo has been the opiate epidemic faced by Massachusetts. As a member of the Senate's Special Commission on Opiate Epidemic, Senator deMacedo took a leadership role in finding solutions to this crisis faced by so many Massachusetts residents and their families. Although much progress has been made in adding treatment beds and options, Senator deMacedo believes and makes very clear that there is still more work to do every day as we continue to advocate for a solution to this epidemic. During his time on Beacon Hill, Senator deMacedo has been a champion of economic development, working to make Massachusetts more business-friendly. He has supported the local tourism industry and fought to preserve regional tourism funding. On a personal note, I had the pleasure of serving side by side with Vinny in representing Plymouth for 12 years, and now as a senator, he's also representing Kingston, his hometown. There are lots of astute, very bright, very hard-working legislators out of the 200 on Beacon Hill. I have never met anyone up there that achieves this level of success and brings this level of integrity to this position in my 12 years. I consider Vinny one of my dearest friends and a man I greatly respect. So it's my great honor to introduce to you my friend and your senator, Senator Vinny deMacedo.
I was kidding about the money. No, I was kidding. Thank you so much. That was very kind, and I greatly appreciate it. I apologize that the entire delegation isn't here. My former colleague just quit, and he let me hanging to deal with this all by myself. But it is really an honor to be here and to be back in my hometown and have the opportunity to represent my hometown. My mom just loves Kingston because of this community opened up its arms to a family of 7 immigrants and made it home for us, and she really that means a lot. When I first heard about this issue, and it was really after Tom, they had been working on this, but Tom asked me, hey, could you reach out to Jay Ash to come take a look at what was going on here? We have a really exciting opportunity to really move Kingston forward. And so, I reached out to Jay, and of course, as gracious as he is, he's got a very busy schedule. He has been all over the Commonwealth, just repeatedly, and trying to get him here is difficult, and that's why he was here on a Friday afternoon after hours, because he squeezed it in, being very gracious to just do the basic. I'll listen, but I think after he sat down with Tom and Elaine and Paul and got a sense of what really was happening here. And think about where Kingston is located. We're at the end of a train station with right off the edge of a north-south corridor, east-west to, Route 44. All of this available land. It was like a light bulb went off with the secretary, and he wasn't just, it was kind of funny because initially he's just like, it would be nice showing up, and then he's just like, we got something here. We actually got something very big here. For a town as small as Kingston to get a $3 million, which is one of the largest MassWorks grants, is extraordinary. This administration has paid so much attention to the smaller communities. As they've said, I've been in the legislature for quite some time, and I have never seen this kind of attention to our smaller communities from the state. Obviously, we get the Chapter 70, Chapter 90 funding, but this is monies that they can go anywhere, and it's discretionary. And for them to choose the town of Kingston specifically, and actually this region, and I can tell you the entire district that I represent, the kind of interest that we've had from the Secretary of Housing, the Secretary of Environmental Affairs, the Lieutenant Governor has been down here. I can't tell you how many times. The Governor of the Commonwealth. They are engaged in what's happening here, and I am so grateful to the Baker-Polito administration because they truly do care about helping us move forward, and that is why the Lieutenant Governor has gone to every community in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That's 351 communities she has actually stepped foot in and reached out to and built this community compact. And I think we had done the community compact a while ago, and that really made a difference in when they're making decisions about where grants are going. This is a community that has listened to best practices, and going back to the town administrator here. Really impressed with how you've taken, this community and you've said, we're moving this forward, and you're hustling and working with this entire board. You have a lot to be proud of, and I was proud that, in a small way I can be a conduit to the state and working together. Of course, you know how it all works up there, so you didn't really need me, but it was nice to be part of this. And so thank you to this board. Thank you for your leadership. Elaine, thank you for keeping everything in line, and just really impressed. I was really impressed. I had an opportunity to work as closely as we did on this particular project, and it's great. And I know there's some members out here that I actually went to high school with and grew up with, and I don't want them to say anything about me. I've grown up a lot in the past few years, so thank you very much. It's our secret. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I really do appreciate the administration. $3 million is great, and thank you all for this great community that I have now the privilege of representing, but more importantly, that I had the ability to grow up in. So thank you very much, and appreciate you all.
Actually, Vinny, I did need your help. Jay didn't return my call, so. Listen, a side note, but it's a humorous note, and to know Vinny is to love Vinny. I want to tell you a very short story. I became quite sick 4 or 5 years ago, and I was in the hospital for a week or so at Mass General, and I was out unconscious for probably 4 or 5 days. And I woke up when they finally woke me up. And who's on my left and on my right? But on my right is Senate President Terry Murray, and she's got a hot fudge sundae in her hand, and she's crying out of control. She, if you know Terry, if Terry's your friend, she feels your pain, right? And on the left is Vinny. And I look around, and Terry said, Tommy, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you'd have that tube down your throat. I ate the hot fudge sundae, and I looked over at her, and I looked over to Vinny. He says, can I eat that? That's my dear friend Vinny. So next on the program, and we're moving right along for, this is wonderful.
That's not true, guys, just so you know. Terry would never bring him up. No kidding, really.
So I'd like, the next speaker is our leader here in Kingston. We have an extraordinary Board of Selectmen, a board that works together, a board that hangs together, a board that has each other's back, and a board made up of members who are deep thinkers and hard workers. That board is led by our chairman, who no one needs to be introduced from this room. But it's led by our chairman, who has served on this board for 6 years and as its chairman for most of that time. No one has ever in this town worked as hard as Elaine Fiore, ever. I sometimes feel, and my wife is in the room, that I should just give Elaine half my paycheck, and if it weren't for my wife, I would. The work she does in leading the board and these extraordinary members is unmatched anywhere. And Jay astutely pointed it out when he first met Elaine, and we were in Jay's palatial headquarters in Boston presenting, and Jay brought together the head of the T, the head of mass development, and it was a very impressive group of people that he, and only he, could bring together.
I was there.
And Vinny was there. And Elaine, as Elaine always does, was uber prepared. And she had her prepared remarks, and we had a PowerPoint presentation. And I remember the moment, Jay, and you will too. Jay sensed that Elaine was a little nervous. So she started off her remarks saying, "Mr. Secretary," and he said, "Please, stop. We don't need the formality. Don't call me Mr. Secretary. Emperor will be just fine." And with that, it began a 2.5-hour dialogue for a 40-minute meeting where we talked about Kingston. And Elaine just expressed this passion and this vision and this commitment to what this town can and will do in the decade ahead. And Jay and Elaine, the rest of us might have not even been in the room. The two of them connected on a cerebral level, on a personal level, and on a very integrous level. You could tell they were two honest, visionary people sharing ideas. So I am so honored to be the town administrator with this board, and especially with this board's leader. So again, it's my great honor and privilege to introduce you, our chairman, Elaine Fiore.
Thank you for all the kind words. I personally would like to thank Secretary Yash and Senator deMacedo. We don't take this opportunity for granted. Today is the start of Kingston's future. This grant allows us to invest in our infrastructure for water and wastewater, enabling us to move forward with projects already planned for affordable housing and commercial growth in town. It has been a team approach all along the line. I was the representative on behalf of my board. They've supported this all along. We delivered the message, and one thing that is remarkable through all of this is the fact that, in this day and age, there's no party line. As it's already been mentioned, Democrat, Republican, it didn't matter. We were there as individuals working towards a common goal, and that common goal was to see what we could all do for Kingston to help us all strive and benefit in the future with all the tools that we've been given to make that happen. And it's a remarkable process. I'm very fortunate to have been involved in it, especially with the team here, and I look forward to the continued cooperation and partnership, because 2 years from now, you're going to look back at this and say, wow, that was just the beginning. So thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. I appreciate that. Key to any municipality's long-term success is to develop public-private partnerships. And about a year ago, Pyramid, the owner of Kingston Collections, started even back 5 years ago. During very difficult times, they made a commitment to rebrand the Independence Mall to become Kingston Collection, a destination location. And the town partnered with Pyramid at that time to give them the relief they needed to reinvest and build their brand. And they have kept their word. They have spent millions of dollars rebranding the facility and are now planning to build what will be a minimum, I guess, of 300 units where the Sears building is, and a 150-key hotel and a 5-star hotel. That's the type of investment. When they came to us, they said, is it possible? They knew Kingston was not historically very friendly to development. And again, through this board's leadership, through the planning board's leadership, Rob and Paul and the whole team, we brought their request for rezoning to town meeting in 88 days. demonstrating this town's commitment to very selective, impressive development. And so we have asked David Aiken, the Director of Government Affairs for Pyramid, to speak today on behalf of his project. He's our last speaker before we do a presentation and let you folks eat. And David has put us on notice that he came here for a hard-working session on wastewater, and so he didn't wear a suit, and he says, I don't want to present, everybody will be in suits. And we forced him into doing it. So, David, we're so delighted to partner with you, and would ask you if you'd say a few words.
I was actually planning to go up to the parade today because my wife's grandfather was an usher at Fenway Park. And so I love the Commonwealth because one of the first times I was here, I'm at the Boston Red Sox game playing the Seattle Mariners. And up on the big sign above the green wall, what does it say? The Boston Red Sox welcome David Aiken to tonight's game. So it is indeed a pleasure to be with you, Secretary, Senator, the members of the board, and the wonderful town some of you have had the pleasure of speaking with. In some respects, we've grown up together. Pyramid, just by way of background for those who are watching at home, we have the pleasure as a company privately held by the Conjul family who've done a wonderful job. 16 different locations spread across New York, 3 in Massachusetts, and then we have a joint venture down in Virginia. And very clearly, much like communities are changing, our industry is changing. And we recognize that a long time ago, 7+ years ago, when we were competing basically for people's leisure time and their disposable income. And in part, it was no longer about the retail brands that we were putting into our facilities, but much like at Kingston Collection, it is those brands that are going to attract people and provide a great experience towards people of all ages. So to be able to go to a quote-unquote a mall and have the benefit of going to a race car or bowling or the wonderful Bar Rustic, the studio kitchen that we have over there is absolutely spectacular. And so across our portfolio, what we're trying to do, and doing it successfully, is to continue to diversify our tenant mix. And so that is why the hotel, and sort of capitalizing very much on this being a great tourism market, that is wonderful. And then also focused on the other areas of mixed-use development and working to grow the residential basis for many of the reasons that were referenced previously. And so it was a very quick 88 days. You are a community that rolls up your sleeves, is willing to email at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and much like in our... yeah, I know that was not Tom. There are times he doesn't return phone calls as well, but we'll leave that to a little later. But it is a pleasure to be here representing Pyramid. I've been a partner for almost 3 decades. Next October will have been open for 30 years, and we think announcements like this, people working together, can hopefully ensure our success for the next 30 years. So again, I apologize for no time. My mother, who's looking down on me today, said, I can't believe that you'd be standing in front of the Secretary and the Senator without a tie, but thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Dave, you'd be impressive if you were wearing a tent. Thank you so much. That's the end of the speaking part. Now we're into the substance, the real substance of our gathering here, which is the presentation of the letter. But before we do so, Mr. Secretary, I'd like our select lady, Kathy Lenatra, to come up and say a few words and share with Jay a few tokens of our appreciation from the town of Kingston.
It's a great day for Kingston. Happy to be here. But where you have invested in us in this wonderful town of Kingston, and we are so grateful, we wanted to share a bit of our past with you. So this is a book that our local Girl Scout troop, 8023, for their Silver Award project has put together, and it focuses on 22 local veterans of the American Revolution that are buried here in our old burying ground. So we'd like to present you with this.
Thank you.
And we have some wonderful posters for your morning coffee.
Oh, awesome.
So we will always be on your mind, first thing.
Awesome.
You can put those back in here. But again,
These These coasters cost $3 million.
$3 million coaster.
You can put those in here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we didn't give you any.
So now we'd like, if the board would join me up here, and Secretary Ash will make the presentation. Senator, if you'd join us, please, would make the presentation of the award letter.
So there's not much fanfare here. I want to make it in cash, but I'm told I can't do that anymore, so I have to give you a letter of commitment anyway. But this is a letter of commitment to the town that'll follow up with a contract and then an award of $3 million. So congratulations, everybody. Vinny, one more, please.
Oh, please.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. And who are we?
Does anyone get a pic? Anyone have a camera?
That's for my Twitter.
That'll be up in a minute.
Where's the selfie?
It's coming.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Hang on,
most
don't
important
move.
one. Most important
We
one
all know him.
is the selfie.
You can do this when you're 6'10".
Awesome.
I think that can be
Yes, yeah, we're awesome.
Folks, that concludes our ceremony here, and I'd invite anybody to step up, have a sandwich, be there first, have a sandwich, some chips, some water, enjoy yourself. I want to thank you all for coming. I know that you are the people that make Kingston what it is, and we're very grateful for your attendance here today. Thank you. Vinny, go next slide. Thank you.
Is the house I grew up in here anywhere?